we always trying to educate people. And it's so many rules, I ain't gonna say rules, but it's so many different games and there's so many different ways to play the game.
Yes.
And certain games are better for certain scenarios. Case in point, you know, when I first started investing in houses, back then a lot of the houses was 40, 50,000. Yeah, I was paying 15%
well, that was a good shot.
on hard money.
Man, that was a good
but
shot.
hard money made sense because the payments was cheap. And now that I'm moving into bigger properties, that hard money don't look as attractive.
Yeah.
And I start taking a survey of this development, that development, and so it makes me research like who's doing this deal.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's not just one single guy. These are people that are pooling money together to do these bigger deals. So now I'm even looking at the way I structure and do my deals differently.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, even up to a few years ago, if I'm doing a deal with somebody, I may find a deal, I'll renovate or build a deal. I can get the loan on the deal, but my investor might put in 30% of the capital to carry the carrying cost and carry the down payment to kind of get me through the deal. But now I'm thinking about that whole scenario differently. And the way I'm thinking about it differently is because it like that deal is good because I get 70%. If I'm doing 1 or 2 deals, that's cool. If I have a small staff, that's cool. But if I got employees and I'm trying to scale my business, that's not the right model.
Right.
It's almost a better model if I keep 30%.
Yes.
I give the investor 70%.
Yes.
And I charge a reasonable general contractor's fee.
Yes.
I could charge 50K. Let's say the deal made 100K. I can charge 50K, get an investor 70K, he's still making 35,000. If I did it in reverse, I was only giving him 30,000. So really he make a little bit more money. On paper, it looks sweeter because it's like he's getting 70 versus 30, but it allows my company to have revenue as I'm going through the deal to grow.
That's right.
And these are things that are not really taught. It's like you hit a roadblock and you understand why you're not growing, you understand your financials and where the troubles come in at, and then you start thinking about and doing research. But the more we can educate ourselves on what we need to do as we scale, the better. In private capital right now, for me, with my model and where my business is going, for me, it's the only way I can go moving forward, man, especially with the bigger deals. Ooh.
Listen, I mean, I personally think that, I mean, look, you know, banks would never, unless you a D.R. Horton or some of them big boys, the banks never, the traditional bank like a J.P. Morgan Chase and all that, they'll never lend you money on deals, especially if you're a first time investor doing a lot, but we call them lot builders, right? If you're a lot builder, somebody just buying a lot and building, you'll never go to the bank. You'll never go to your bank and get a loan to build that house. It's just not gonna happen, right? If it's an investment property, right? So you have to play with private investors. Now, what we're starting to see is that a lot of those hedge funds that was doing private loans, they are starting to pull back or kind of tightening up. And it's not that they're tightening up because the market is bad. They're tightening up because their money flow is running out. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these big hedge funds that do private loans, they raise money from just normal people, right? They raise money and stuff. Well, their money's starting to tighten up because a lot of people, especially like the 401k holders, a lot of private lenders will go get money from 401k holders. I mean, that's how we started our company. My wife had a 401k. We leveraged her 401k, married it with my money, and that's how we started lending money out. Well, a lot of 401k holders now they need their money to live because of inflation. So a lot of private lenders are kind of tightening up a little bit. But I think that opens up a great opportunity for just your regular Main Street type of investor, right? You know, that guy who don't know that, man, I can be a bank the same way that, you know, that these big boys are doing bank. I mean, they're not doing anything rocket science, but that we just don't know. I mean, but when you learn and know that, okay, that, hey man, I got $100,000 sitting in a bank making 0% interest, well, and I know Gene got a project over here, I should be calling Gene up saying, Gene, hey man, look, I know you got this project, man. Can I be the bank on that project for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And even on the terms of private money, not just for real estate, like I even been looking at it for my other business. Because if you have a business that's producing revenue and it's a good business model, and you have some of your ducks in a row in terms of how it's set up, in terms of your financial projections, in terms of, you know, keeping your books, in terms of a business plan, you can have a restaurant that you're looking to grow and almost have a better chance of raising private money than you can going to a bank.
Absolutely.
So I'm exploring it in a lot of different ways right now.
Now the key to that is what you said about having your financials and your books in place. Now that right there is where most small businesses fail. Because we don't keep good books. We don't keep good records. We don't have good bookkeeping and all that type of stuff. Or we don't even have a business plan. Or if we do have one, it's a real sketchy business plan.
I put too much on it, boy. I got to stay out the weight room.
But you're right. I think if you got a good business plan and you got a good business plan that shows great projections and revenue streams of how this business is going to generate revenue and things of that nature, and you bring that to a private lenders and stuff, you can succeed with it, right?
Yeah.
Think about what is that company that started? There's a company that started years ago. They actually did that. Peer Street. You've heard of Peer Street?
Yeah.
Peer Street. That's what Peer Street was doing. Peer Street was actually, they were a lender. They would lend on real estate deals, but Peer Street created an online portal where people could go and invest into deals with Peer Street, and Peer Street just took that money and gave it to builders and things of that nature. And they sat in the middle and made a broker fee off the deals, but they were using other people's money to do it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of platforms pop up, like with the crowdfunding and just in general, just with people that can invest in real estate, man. And now with technology, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to put together a decent business plan. I did a business plan. It took me a good 2 hours because I wanted it detailed. But I went to like liveplan.com.
That's the best one.
And used AI and put together a whole business plan for my business within a couple hours.
That's right.
So it ain't like it used to be where you had to hire somebody and pay a lot of money. Like you really can put together a nice business plan that's detailed if you just put some energy and effort into it.